following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome, everybody, to the official space section of the chart.
The truth! You can't handle the truth!
Sir, you're out of order. Out of order. I show you out of order.
Hey, everybody, I'm Michael.
I'm Antonio.
And we're your real debaters this week. We're the artist cinema meets the power of debate. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, listener. This week, we're talking Ensemble.
I love the way you said that.
That's the way the French say it, right? Ensemble. The Ensemble cast, the movie with 47 of your favorite actors and actresses all on screen at the same time, which actually is movie 43 when I think about it.
Oh, very smart.
Right?
A little linkage there.
Yeah,
very nice.
linkage.
Well, not that kind of talking, but, but I see where you're going with this.
Listener knows the image they just got.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so welcome back, listener. Yes, we are talking the Ensemble cast on this week's Real Talk. We're going to dissect a list like we always do, and me and Tony are going to talk about what we like about them. I mean, they're a niche, I think.
They are.
It's not something I would like to see all the time, because then it ruins it. Right?
You don't want to see 43 of your favorite cast members always in one scene?
That's just too much.
Okay.
Right? Like, those, and everyone's always like, were they all off at the same time? Like, how did they get them all in the same room that day? Like, scheduling nightmare. So what do we have coming up? What do we want to tell you about? We got 2 trivia nights coming up. We got November 25th, Monday, Friends Part 2. Tony was at Friends Part 1.
I was there at Friends Part 1. I can't believe that there was still a lot left on the table to formulate Friends Part 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. And like weird stuff that's in the background, like Easter eggs and all that stuff. So I think that's the route we've taken with this one. One full round of you have no other answers but the one you hope is correct. One full round of multiple choice.
Ooh.
Another full round of you better know the fucking answer because there's no help, but way harder. And then a mix of way harder, better know the answer, and multiple choice for the last round.
Okay, you are mixing it up on this one.
Oh, yeah. And there's some 2 points, some 6 points, some 7-point answers, depending on if you can, you have to dance for your points.
Oh, well, wow.
Yeah, like if you can name all of Joey's sisters.
Son of a...
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's for the hard in the paint Friends fan. That's for the true pivots out there. So that's November 25th. Tickets are online right now. You can buy them in the show notes. $10 a ticket. 7 o'clock. We register. 7:30 we start. We're at the Handsome Daughter, 61 Sherbrooke.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, it's going to be fun. They've got Dem Hoagie Boys is there now.
Oh, yes. Very good.
If you haven't had the macaroni salad from Dem Hoagie Boys, you're just not winning at life. So that's that. And then on December 6th, we are back. I think this is going to be a yearly tradition for Christmas trivia at Little Brown Jug. It's kind of what we did Halloween and we did Christmas the first year, and then we was like, we can do any kind of trivia, and we were wrong. But yes, we're back at Little Brown Jug for year number 2 for holiday trivia. We call it holiday because we know not everybody is under the same denomination. So this is movies that you watch around the holiday.
Nice.
Right? These are movies that maybe be on during the holidays on repeat. Some Star Wars series. Yep. Some Lord of the Rings series. So we're going to throw some curveballs at you, but it will also be in the vein of like, what are the 3 food groups if we asked Buddy from Elf? Right? Stuff like that, stuff from Scrooge, stuff from Scrooge, right? Everything that you would know. The Grinch, the old Rudolph stuff, Frosty the...
Wow, you are really pulling from the archives there.
We might be doing some Hallmark bullshit Christmas stuff, right?
Okay.
Like it's going to be... You need to know your holiday trivia.
Nice.
Kind of what I'm saying. December 6th, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 o'clock register, 7:30 start time. This is at Little Brown Jug, 335 William. 2.5, 3 hours budget, and we're doing it early. You have no reason to say you can't come because you're not deep into December.
Correct.
There's not a lot of Christmas parties that are getting in the way. That first week is kind of, I feel, everybody after that's like, see you in January 3rd. So you can buy tickets for both of those evenings in the show notes right fucking now. We'd love to see you there. We have fun at trivia. As Tony said, it's
fantastic. You actually pull out some really head scratchers. I was actually quite impressed by the table that did win.
Yeah.
Like you asked, who is the character, their name, full name, and who played them, full name. And so you get multiple points on that.
And
so.
I mean, you can say you're a Friends fan, but we'll make you
really a Friends fan.
Really a Friends fan. Or find out how much of one you aren't. That is that. Otherwise, it's going to be Christmas, and then we're all going to take time off, and we can
Not be with our family.
Not be with our be with our other families.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's step off this mortal coil. Tony, what'd you watch this week?
I was all basically, unfortunately, getting into the Christmas spirit. So,
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah, I have started it. Just trying to get the emotions going. I actually am one of those people. I don't know if your viewers like this. I watched Hot Frosty. I did bite the bullet. I wanted to see what this whole conversation of
Tell
Netflix.
us about Chad Michael Murray.
Not Chad Michael Murray. No, it's Dustin Milligan, a Canadian actor.
Sorry, I do confuse the two.
Yes, they look very similar.
Thank you.
So yes, it was actually, you know what, very much in the Hallmark vein of those Christmas movies. So very formulaic, but they did not take themselves very seriously because
Good.
The whole point is a snowman who is carved like a goddess. Yep, basically.
Arnold and T2.
Comes to life and is now in love with the person who put a scarf on him. And the entire
those
town believes that he is once a snowman. And literally the main character goes, am I crazy here? Is this actually going on? And everyone's like, yes, it's the spirit of Christmas. And so you're like, okay, you're in on the joke that this is ridiculous, but you are all going with it. And, you know, it was 2 hours that was light, hearty, fun, very good start to the holiday season in that Hallmark kind of way.
She cuts a Mean Girls joke, doesn't she?
She does. She actually makes reference because you see Lindsay Lohan in a Hallmark movie on the TV, and she goes, wow, she looks like a girl I went to high school with.
Now, is that also a Hallmark movie that Hallmark is making that they inserted into their universe? Like, is that Lindsay Lohan's Hallmark movie?
It was Lindsay Lohan's Hallmark or Netflix movie that was on the TV. They actually did a few of those things
so
where
shameful.
there were other movies that you could pinpoint out there, which was kind of smart on their point.
Yeah, I think Kelly watched it too, actually.
Okay.
I have yet to talk to her about that. She watches, what is it what's the trash that she watches? That you may watch together.
I don't watch it with her. No. I'm not. It's Love Island
Yes.
and Get Off My Island and Get Off My Love with all the people on my island. So
And Naked and Afraid on an Island.
yes, which I would pay money no.
To do or to be on?
No, well, the Naked and Afraid mix with Love Island would be
One of those is a prison camp and the other one's a resort. Depending
Exactly.
on how much it costs.
staged in Winnipeg.
But like, okay, so is it Netflix's attempt at a Hallmark, or is it Hallmark through Netflix? Like,
I think
I
think it's a Netflix film.
Okay.
Thank you for correcting me on that. I don't want to get copyright.
that's-
No,
yeah.
copyright infringed. So it's a
Don't worry, nobody cares.
Some people
Okay.
don't write me. Yeah, it was a Netflix film, and I think Miss Lachey, who I believe was aged out of Hallmark movies, is now, I guess, doing Netflix holiday movies.
Sure. I mean, is there an age? I thought Hallmark was where you have a second life.
I thought so too, but now apparently, if you've been reading all of the blogs and all that, some people have been asked to step away. And then, of course, I think there was the whole group that went very Christian and took their own movie.
Candace Berg.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She was part of that whole break. There was a breakaway.
There was a breakaway. They formed their own sect. They grew too big.
Like a Heretic colony.
Basically, yes.
But for Christian movies.
Basically, here, take your gingerbread and go.
Don't you know
make the movies. Yeah, so that was and then outside of regular scheduled television. How about yourself? What did you end up watching?
Okay, so movie. I told you I'd tell you about it today. So
Yeah.
I think it's
yes.
Heretic.
Heretic,
Yeah.
yes.
We went and saw it last night. Me and Aaron. Aaron didn't even see the trailer.
Okay, so he knew nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
And I'd seen the trailer once, so okay, they knock on the door for all the wrong reasons. I can't tell you the ending. Like, I can't give you too much because it is a movie that is it's questions of faith that the story is about.
Yep.
Question you as the viewer of what you're watching.
Correct.
So if I tell you how it goes, your faith won't be tested.
Yeah.
And it makes you ask the question, do you believe what's happening to these girls to be an act of religion or absolute bullshit?
Right.
Right. And so the premise is they are two Mormon girls. One is like they have the yin and the yang, the devil and the angel mentality between the two, where one of them is very with it and bright and of the world, but of her religion. And the other one is like, I'll drink the Kool-Aid. And she's not simple, but just unaware and naive. And that plays into both of their characters. And you can clearly see it. It's like, who's going to come out of this alive in the end? And they knock on the door.
Yeah.
And they get Mr. Grant. And he comes to the door, and he's very cordial. And you sit down, and within the first 5 minutes of that conversation, he already goes to, so what about polygamy?
Yes.
And then starts to
poke at their religion.
And you can see it. You can see that is as tense as the opening sequence to Inglourious Basterds. Like, because you know what he's up to, right?
Yeah.
And then the big reveal of this isn't blueberry pie and the candle and everything you've seen in the trailer. And at that point, they are trapped. And he is best way I can describe it, a religious scholar who is also a psychopath.
Oh, beautiful.
And has a huge problem with world religion and belief and in doctrine and iterations and cons and Kool-Aids and all this stuff. And he decides, you can leave, but your faith will be tested through a series of events and things you'll be exposed to. And it turns into this underground layer and this weird science experiment and all these different things. You're glued to the screen the whole time.
Ooh, okay.
You are. It's a little Notting Hill.
Yeah.
It's a little Love Actually.
Ooh.
It's a little, what's the other one I referenced? Oh, it's a little Four Weddings and a Funeral. Everything that you have in Hugh Grant is everything you love in Hugh Grant. It's just the environment that he's in. He's charming Hugh Grant with a dark side. Ooh. So how he brings down the tension and introduces himself to girls. He's everything you love about Hugh Grant, but then the smiles that he makes that you're used to, the mannerisms about his charm are all now driven by psychopathy and insanity and murder, perhaps.
Okay.
So he's brilliant. I can't remember her name. Let me pull it up. What our girl from Yellow Jackets is in it.
Yes.
She does no longer look the same. She sounds the same. Her lips are the same, but she has come into herself.
Okay.
She's grown.
Okay.
She doesn't have the big cute cheeks anymore that she had.
Aww.
Like she's a woman.
Yeah.
Literally. And I was like, I don't believe it's her. Like, I thought it was maybe her twin, but it's 100% her. And her would happen to be I'll tell you. This is filling. This is vamping. Chloe East.
Okay.
The one who plays Juliette Lewis's younger version.
Thank you.
That's for a listener out there if you don't know who we're talking about. She's fantastic. She's the smarter.
Yes.
The more with it of the two. Religion is thrown back and forth. You're questioning what they're seeing. You're questioning, am I going to fall for this? Am I not going to fall for this? Is this a magic trick? Is this real? Right to the very end. A24, on point.
Yeah, because I read a few online reviews, and they were...
What'd they say?
They were not necessarily on board with it. They felt it was a slip in the A24, portfolio of movies.
Yeah, it's not Midsommar. It's not Hereditary.
And that's where I think people were...
Okay.
And that's what they were saying, is that it's not where they were thinking that kind of level was going to keep going. But you need to have ebbs and flows. You need to have...
This is more M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay,
if we're being honest, like it's A24's zhuzh, but I don't know if the guy who directed it is a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, who now I've got that name in front of me a lot faster. Directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Brian Woods also did 65, that dinosaur movie, Haunt, Nightlight, The Bride, Horror, Blood. Nothing that we know a lot of. And Scott Beck, what has he done? Oh, they've worked together. They're a team.
Okay.
I think, and that's an A24 thing, because they did that with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
They had co-directors and stuff, and I mean, it probably helps with the work, with the lifting the work and everything. 3 out of 5.
Okay, not bad.
Like, I mean, I was there for it. I liked it. Had I done a lot of research and read what other people had said, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much.
Okay.
Aaron completely enjoyed it because he was like, what? Why? I don't know. I haven't seen this trailer before. Like, he didn't know all of the things that were in the trailer that give you an idea that he's trapping these girls. But it is bloody. It is violent.
Are you a little surprised it didn't get launched just a little bit before Halloween? Because it's
way more a Halloween movie.
Yeah, it's like a horror genre, and this is an odd period between Halloween, American Thanksgiving and the kickoff to the holiday season.
I can get on board. Like it's a fall movie because I mean
Yeah.
it takes place in the fall and there's snowstorm in the movie and all
Yeah.
that stuff. At the same time, though, yeah, it's misplaced. It should be. It's what was that one with Justin Long? Boogeyman?
No, Jeepers Creepers.
No, the newer one where the guest shows up and they both are in the same Airbnb and then they find out that under the basement.
Oh, yeah,
is
Boogeyman. I think.
Boogeyman. Okay, yeah. It's very Boogeyman.
Okay.
It's doing a lot of other things while things are happening and
Yeah.
things are crossing. I wouldn't go to the theater. I mean, if you want to, you can go. But for me, I would have watched this at home.
There it is.
But the only reason I went to the theater was because I wanted to go see a movie.
Yeah.
Right. So like but it's not something that, I mean, I'm an advocate for the theater, but it's not something that I feel you should chase down to the theater. You could pay for it at home and be just as good. But yeah, what do you give?
Hot Santa?
Hot Frosty.
Oh, Hot Frosty, yeah. On a scale of 1 to 5, I 3 as well. Like
Yeah.
it's in that same melt in the back of your mind kind of
And
show.
your stomach? What do you give that?
Oh, the stomach out of 5 is 22. Fantastic. Now, bless him, I have no idea what kind of diet or regiment you're on because I believe Dustin is
Ozempic. Just too much of it.
Yeah. He was overly in shape, and he's got to be a little younger than I am, and I am in my 40s. So that's not necessarily natural to have maintained it.
No. And I mean, if we want believable,
Yeah.
we go to Hallmark 4,
Which is the pinnacle of it.
right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Hallmark streaming?
My mother has that on. I visit her on Sundays. That thing is never off. It is a rotation of just movies. And of course, we started this for the friends at home there since July because you do Christmas in July and then you start moving into all of the other seasons. So we have had nothing but Hallmark.
Wow.
And I literally think it's a conveyor belt of these movies where they just set up, well, Winnipeg will do 5 and Ottawa will do 5 and BC will do 5. And then, of course, Ireland now, which I do not understand why we have to have every 15th movie.
Because we need a green Christmas, don't you know?
Yeah, you can still... They're in love with
Top
Ireland.
of the morning to you, Frosty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it's selling, but yeah.
They are made. One was made recently.
Yes.
And, what the fuck was the name of it? Jingle All the Fucking Way or some dumb shit, right? But I asked him, I was like, okay, so when are we going to see this? They're like 4 weeks from now. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's a conveyor belt, and it's just literally, and nothing to take away from them. It's working. It's putting people through a lot of work at multiple levels. And in some ways, it's not like in a sense where you're watching and you're like, oh, you didn't put money into this. You can see money being spent on this.
They look good.
But it's literally the same kind of formulaic.
Oh, yeah.
A female fill in her job is now in a...
Fill in the home.
Yes.
Like her sweet hometown, whatever.
Correct. And
Needs
she
fill in the blank.
guy who then has challenge.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ooh, how will this end?
Has conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. We actually we made our own Hallmarks for movie characters that we wanted, who we thought should be in a Hallmark movie.
Yes.
I can't remember did I do Jackass? Why do I feel like I did a Jackass Hallmark?
I can see it.
Can you imagine all the other actors
Yes.
and how tense that set would be? No, I like them. I don't search them out, but I have committed to this Christmas once December hits because I can't. I think that's when we're getting snow. Once the snow hits, I will go through the Winnipeg shot Hallmark list to see everybody that I've met or interviewed or whatever. But like just to see the movies that have been made here. Like, and I don't like the Christmas in July shit. I think that's overkill. But if you're looking for that feeling and you want that,
correct.
Fuck, fill your boots.
And Hallmark has produced enough that they have their own channel.
Yeah. I was like, when you were probably like, when are you going to do that?
And they just were like, and go. And so bless them, and it's making a lot of people money and it's keeping industries alive. And certainly from the film industry, from Winnipeg standpoint, we love you and thank you for continuing to come back.
Hallmark feature.
Correct.
It's a conveyor belt of its own.
Correct.
Yeah. And did you see Netflix shit the bed? Did you see any of that?
What do you mean Netflix?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I do not.
So Netflix is a joke.
Yes.
Also known as the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
Yes. I've heard rumors about this. Somehow it broke apart, stopped streaming.
Or Red Ring of Death.
Oh, there it is.
At 25%. So data worked. So everybody in the bar I was in, we all switched to our phones. God bless. I'm not going to name it because everybody used fucking internet. No, it wasn't the internet. It was 67 million people watching one thing at the same time on one fucking channel being fed live.
Correct.
And
I believe that happened when they, what was it?
Chris Rock?
No, Victoria's Secret went online for the first time and launched their fashion show, and everyone logged on. It crashed it, and now
How do we not know this?
The big thing that they're worried about is apparently, I think the Super Bowl is going to go.
We heard this.
Yes, and so they were like, "Please don't crash for Beyonce. Her people will come for you."
Oh yeah, the Beyoncés will come.
Yes,
if that's what they're called. Sorry if you're not. Don't come for me.
Yeah.
That was the trial run for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's a Christmas game coming.
Yes,
and they want NFL.
Yes,
so that's what that was. Then I hear that I've seen since. I mean, what I saw more of it. Yeah, I saw most of it at the bar, but then I went and rewatched it again. I wanted to see the women fight. The two women that fought before.
Okay,
killed each other. Like it was the best fight of the night apparently, because the Tyson fight was 2 rounds of, hey, I know that guy, and then there's the senior citizen. Oh, there's the old guy. But now, I mean, conspiracy feeds on Reddit, they're fun to be in. You people are crazy. The theory is that there was one point where Jake goes in for the grab.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden Mike gives him a tap on the back, and you're like, what was that about? They think that was where Jake was like, do you want to get paid?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you knock me out, we're both not getting paid. It had to go the distance to get paid.
Wow.
Yeah, they weren't like, it wasn't like the old pay-per-view Don King days. Yeah. So they think there's some chatter back between the two of them in the ring, which makes sense. Like, if that's your contract,
sure,
calm down a bit, right?
Yeah.
Then he's biting his glove.
Okay.
And they're thinking that was him trying to stop himself from like going after you because he's got a biting fixation. Apparently, Evander Holyfield knows a thing or two about that.
I've heard a rumor.
Yeah. So there's so many things around it, but like, yeah, it was like I was looking forward to it. I was all like, Mike's gonna win. Fucking, I got it in bet. But it was just really like, I'm like, Netflix, you're stupid. Like, you didn't think more servers?
Who knows? And people are talking about it. Maybe
good press is still,
bad press is still good press.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know that like wrestling's coming back in January, and I am wrestling in my blood.
Okay,
that's the thing my mom and me
deep
used to do. I am.
No, you used to watch, not do.
Not do. No,
okay.
No, watch. So when wrestling comes back, if I tune in Monday nights and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm gonna have, yeah, exactly. 25%.
Exactly.
And then when it kicks back in, it's right where it stopped. It's not like caught up to the new shit. So yeah, those are the two things I watched. It was funny too because when we went, someone's like, "Who do you think's going to win tonight?" Or no, who's going to lose was the question. And I said, "What did I say?" I said Netflix. And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, I say that because everybody is tuning in at the same time to watch a thing, and no one ever does that on Netflix. They tune in to watch a thing that's on a hard drive.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you think Netflix was like, we should get more shit? Or do you think they were like, we got this? Fucking arrogance. That's what happened. So, yeah, those. But if you do watch Heretic when it comes out, I think it'll probably be out in like 2 weeks.
I can't wait. Well, I mean, this week, what is it? Wicked is going to be released, and that is going to kill anything. Although they're calling, what is it, Gladiator 2 and Wicked, they're trying to make it like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
It's hashtag Glicked, I believe.
That is correct.
Yeah. Are you going to go see Wicked?
I am planning to go see Wicked. Read the book.
Yeah.
Saw the stage production. I am very curious.
Okay, so you're on the journey.
I'm on the journey. I'm curious because they've made it into 2 movies, and I don't know if it warrants 2, but you're either adding to it or you're going to stretch something, which we know from the past.
Or this is an hour.
Find that hard to believe. They're already talking about Oscar nominations.
Well, that's how you get an Oscar nomination, is you talk about it.
Exactly. You say like Beetlejuice, and it appears.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, and I'm also interested in Gladiator 2 because I was a fan of Gladiator 1 when it first came out for a variety of its epic reasons.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? I've been watching. Russell Crowe just don't give a fuck.
God no.
Like they're like, are you a fan of the Stanislavski method, Mr. Crowe? He's like, I'm a fan of the Russell method. Never been to drama school in my life. Been acting since I was 6. If you can't figure the fuck out, maybe you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited too. These like Barbenheimer rolled off the tongue nicely.
Yes, glit. If you don't say it properly, can sound like something else, and that no.
Yeah, no. I'm dumbfounded by the attempt because it was Wickadator at first.
No.
And now it's Glicked, right? Glicked works way better. But yeah, no, I'm gonna wait until the
buzz
dies down and maybe go on Cheap Tuesday because
nice.
I mean I can wait to see the Coliseum fill up with water.
Can you though?
I mean Ridley Scott's hilarious. He's like, oh, they could have done it. They could have done it. And you're like, really, buddy? They could have done it. I don't. You PVC back then? You could line a fucking Coliseum. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to put any French people in a movie about a French guy. And I'm going to put water inside of a fucking concrete building that has holes all over it.
It's possible.
Movies, baby. Yeah. All right. Ensemble cast. Let's move on to this shit.
Let's do it.
So,
Floor is open.
I don't even know why this popped up, to tell you the truth. I think it's like if you don't really have a good script, a great big cast
Can hide it.
So, I mean, first things first. I mean, Ensemble, just for everybody to know. I mean, well, how do you consider? Because I mean, is it a lot of actors doing things together? Is it a big cast of famous actors to a number? What is your?
So an ensemble cast, in my opinion, is a movie that is utilizing a large number.
Okay.
You can, whatever that number is for your mind, where each one of them is given equal kind of screen time
Yes.
to move the narrative along.
Yes.
So that means you're not having just a lot of superfluous people. Oh, this person walked on for a moment. The delivery man has arrived. Or we have about 8 children and none of them speak. I'm looking at you, Von Trapp kids. But you're having
Be blonde.
Exactly. Yay, Aryans. But you are having multiple individuals that are contributing to the narrative of the story in an equal part. They may not all be considered the lead actor and actress, but they're all contributing to it. So that can, now for our discussion, in my mind, that balancing these kind of large numbers, movies versus, what is a real ensemble cast.
I would agree. I would describe this a lot less elegantly. I would be like, there's a bunch of my favorite people all on screen doing stuff together, right? And it's a huge marketing play, right? Specifically, if the words Academy nominated are in front of said actor's name. And it's always like, until I understood how, it was one of the things about movie magic that I was always like, how'd they do that, right? Like, how'd they get all these people? Why'd they all say yes? Like, it's like, I mean, I was looking at film objectively, not at 12, not at 18, not at even 25. Like, I didn't really think I liked movies until I knew a lot about movies, but I always liked big casts. Yeah. Right? Because it felt more magical, I guess, because all these people are doing all this shit. Like, I mean, you could consider, do we consider, say, Ghostbusters an ensemble cast? Because
this is just it. You're having 4 or 5 individuals moving the story along, but is that an ensemble or is that just the cast?
Right? Exactly. I would argue that almost everybody, I mean, even Winston gets his fucking day in the sun, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's even when we're to argue, he would be the least speaking of the 4 of them.
Correct.
But together, if we're using your analogy, then they are all telling the story of the Ghostbusters together. Correct. They all have their different perspectives of what's going on, so on and so forth. Yeah, Bill Murray is the lead Ghostbuster.
Exactly.
But there's definitely some of the I don't know. Maybe I'm stretching.
Yeah, well, this is just it. It because once you start getting to like 4 or 5, because and we'll get into the list, but I went through kind of the list before, and it's interesting because if you think back to the 80s, right? You had Steel Magnolias.
Yes.
Whoa. Is that an ensemble cast or is that just the cast? You had like the Joy Luck Club, so predominant female what we would consider female movies.
Yes,
right. We're
With the male gaze.
we're typically more ensemble kind of multiple cast, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But for many of us, we might think ensemble, if we use the definition I put forward, like Star Wars, multiple different characters that are having close to equal time. So our droids, our Darth Vaders, our all of this, our Yoda,
one
Muppets.
droid that doesn't speak, he just makes sounds. Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, we've ensemble casts stand out, so it's chemistry, right? Also that too. You can put a bunch of big names,
correct,
in a room together. Can you imagine if nobody on Ocean's 11 vibed?
Correct.
Right? Those are a lot of big egos.
That's
specifically the big three.
Yes.
Right? Can you imagine if that's not vibing? So you can make it try to happen. Or even Heat, for example, is one of those too.
Yes.
Where you've got Tom Sizemore, Val Kilmer, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
The woman who De Niro's involved with, the woman who Pacino is involved with. I'm sorry. But like those all four of those guys are telling the story in that. Even Sizemore does get some ample screen time for that.
Yeah.
But it does. It really is. It's hard to define, but it is easy to define.
Like, I think, to your point, chemistry will really define if that will be a successful movie or not, right? So if we look, I think it was called, what was it, The Tourist?
Yes.
With Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that came out of it is people could see that they did not like each other in any capacity.
None.
They couldn't sell it. Whereas, for many of your listeners at home might have been watching Sex and the City. We could call this an ensemble cast.
Oh, yes.
Two main characters, Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall.
Without the four opinions from the four different women.
Correct. But Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall hated each other. They actually were starting to not get along, but they could translate very well good chemistry on TV. And so
I always wondered, how do you do that? You do, you can work in an office with somebody you don't like because you can, readily avoid them. But when you're your co-star.
Correct.
How do you turn, in the movies when they turn away from each other, like, get the fuck out of my face now?
Well, you could take the Three's Company route and you could put someone in another room and just slice the screen and you never interface with them.
Which one was that again?
That's what happened to Suzanne Summers to get rid of the Chrissy character. They signed it into her contract, which was you will not interact with any of the performers. We will run out your contract. You will get paid, but you will not interact. So she would be walked onto set. She would go into a room, and Chrissy would be away, and she'd be on the phone, and they'd split the screen, and she never saw any of the cast members ever again.
What caused that?
So what they came was she and Farrah Fawcett had the same manager. And so Farrah Fawcett had negotiated her contract first and really held the feet to the fire to the executives in studio to get more money. And so when Suzanne Summers came to renegotiate her contract, they were like, we're not going to get twice milked. And so they really started to push back and push hard. And I think she tried to pull a sick day thing, and they're just like, then we're just going to honor your contract, and we'll still pay you, not anymore, and you will never see the cast again. And so they basically just did like the last of her episodes, and they wrote her out, and they wrote in a new character, her cousin, and that was it. And so
if that's why making TV and movies are hard, then that's just people being shitty and getting in the way.
Yes.
If you're like, oh, it was a hard shoot. Why? Well, we couldn't put one of our main actors in the same room with the other ones because they all thought she was a fucking thunder cunt. Like, that's completely, that's so ridiculous.
But I think to your point, if you look at Ocean's 11, 9, 12, 13, 75, whichever the numbers now are, you're right. You could see the chemistry is working, especially if you're going to have more than 5, 6, 7 people who all, particularly in those cases, are coming with a name. So they're expecting
Don
time.
Cheadle, still a name.
Correct. And expecting time on the screen. I'm not pulling
Andy Garcia.
I'm not pulling a Judi Dench of 30 seconds. I'm getting an Oscar out of it, but I'm still not pulling
I'm not Sean Connery in the end of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. $250,000 for 30 seconds of work.
I love when he played, I think it was a Japanese person in one of his movies.
Oh, that's right.
And it's still the same accent. And it's like, and then he was a Russian. And then I'm like,
Okinawa. Jesus Christ. And then, you've also got, what else do we put down here? Well-developed characters.
Yes.
I mean, if you don't have good characters that these great actors can fill,
yes,
you're gonna have what always happens, which is where there's too many characters and too much story to find.
Correct.
Right? where everybody knows. Maybe I only have 6 lines, but I know where to make those 6 lines count.
Correct.
And I know my portion is 30%. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and I think in particularly for listeners at home, we're trying to think, okay, for me, there's 2 different types of ensemble casts. There's the ensemble cast where they're all working together to move one story perfectly.
Yep.
So you're looking at, for me, your Ocean's 11, Star Wars,
Yes.
Those kind of things. And then you're getting that contrived cast, your Love Actually, your Valentine's Day,
Magnolia.
Magnolia, where it is these multiple different stories that are supposed to be linked somehow.
We're all going to meet at a diner.
Exactly. And you're just like, so which story is the more important one, because it may get more developed, and the other one is these side little pieces, or when I spliced it together, I cut out some key parts, and you're like, how did that just occur and drop in, right? So those ones in my mind, they're ensemble, like, Valentine's Day and all that. So, yes, you're having some big names to really draw people in, but it's not necessarily one that engages me, where if I'm looking at the Thin Red Line, a big cast.
Yeah, but none of them are even in the same part of the ocean.
Correct. And so
one's on land, one's on a fucking boat, one's run off to a fucking tropical island, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Like, I really think...
I didn't think of that.
I really think, when we're moving at the heyday of particularly superheroes, those were great ensemble movies, and that is
the root of them.
Correct. But the ones that really resonated well, with the Thors and Iron Man and all them coming together, that ensemble piece and the writing really worked. Whereas you saw in some of the other ones where they were trying to bring Superman and all those together, it just wasn't
saying a Marvel DC thing is.
I'm saying a Marvel DC thing. It's the Jets versus the Blacks.
No, it really is. Yeah, I mean they tried, but
yes,
I mean that's the long con of like, let's make a huge superhero movie,
correct,
and give all of these people their own movie for a minute.
Yes,
because the majority of the public don't know that that's coming.
Yeah,
so that's like the sleeper trick of it. Yeah, I mean there's and I mean that we talked about collaboration, working together, improving. I mean I feel that comedy allows for a lot more fun when you pack a cast in.
Sure.
I like those, like movie 43, like I said at the beginning of this, right? Like where they all show up, they're all little sketches, they're not concurrent, they're not linear, they're not talking to each other. But that to me, I mean, it's fun, it's sexy when you're watching a big cast do, what the Mark Wahlberg one with the heist. Is it the one where they're driving the Mini Coopers, Charlize Theron? The hell's the name of that movie?
Fast and Furious?
No, but that's also
Futurosa. No,
but like, there's so many ways you can go about it. So you know what? Let's figure out what Cracked has to say about the whole thing.
Exactly.
So this is 23 of the best ensemble casts in movie history. This also came out November 7th, 2024. So
yes,
23. The Expendables 2. I don't know why the Expendables 2 is on it, because the Expendables 1 did it first. But it is. Have you seen this piece of trash?
I have. It's okay. It's
okay.
It's okay.
It's action porn,
which has its place.
Does it though in this much? Like,
I don't know if it's on this list. I'm a little surprised.
I don't like it on a list at all. I mean, it's made because he's like, let's get all of our fucking action buddies together to get paid. Like, it's not made for. It's made to watch explosions on big screens and feel like a roller coaster.
And it's nostalgia.
Yeah, it is. When I heard that he was doing it, I was like, this sounds like it's gonna fall horribly flat. And then you go see the first one, and you're like, oh, it's Dolph Lundgren and him getting along instead of punching the shit out of each other.
Yep.
But then you're like, Terry Crews is awesome in this. Like, it's cheesy, but like, I mean, I haven't seen 2, I haven't seen 3, and I'm not going to see 4.
Perfect.
No space on the list.
Okay.
23 is got to go. 22, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You could say any Quentin Tarantino movie.
I will give you that. Quentin Tarantino, I think, is one. Certainly a brilliant actor who really formulates a great ensemble cast and works really hard to try to give them all screen time. Except I would imagine a little bit, not everyone would agree necessarily with Kill Bill Volume 1, where what's her name only got like 20 minutes and we killed her off at the beginning.
Vivica A. Fox.
Yeah. But overall, he tried to bring in particularly large individuals to reboost their careers.
I mean, that's what he did for everybody with Pulp Fiction.
Yep, and he did with Jackie Brown. Right, and if you look to Django Unchained, and now these are established actors,
Bastards.
So these are large scale. So he does that extremely well. I'm hoping there's more on this list from Quentin than this movie, because this was okay.
This is keeping him relevant when you place your name on a list like this.
Correct.
Right? Like, it's making sure that everybody still knows. I love this movie. I watch it a lot. I love the soundtrack.
Okay.
I love old California. I love where it all happened. And in that time, too, like, you've got the Helter Skelter story. You've got the LSD conspiracy theories that are going on in the background of all this, the hippie, it's a really fun time in Hollywood that I like knowing about. And I've read Helter Skelter twice. Like, it's a really gripping read. So just seeing him do this was fun. But yeah, I've got other ones that I would place on this instead of. So that's 2 that shouldn't be on this list, correct? Number 21,
Knives Out. I think it's a great place, whether it's
a mystery,
1 or 2, right?
Either or are fun.
Yeah,
and he's probably going to make 40 of them for Netflix because people love them. They're bankable.
Yep.
Daniel Craig is Foghorn Leghorn. Isn't that who he's playing?
You're right there. It's a very interesting southern
Kentucky accent.
Then Louisiana, and it's a lot of mishmash in there. But he's an endearing. All of them are endearing cast members. They're
the Valley of Misfit Toys.
Yeah,
the group of them, right? Like, everybody has their own place, and it's fun too, because when you have all this stuff that everybody's doing or thinking or inserting, like, you, instead of having two core actors that you're predominantly working with and doing all your superfluous stuff around it, you've got a lot of people who might be like, well, what if we try this here? Like, you get a lot of different perspectives to work out a scene instead of just the primary grouping. Knives Out, I definitely think is 1 and 2. Which one do you like more?
I really liked 1 more than 2 per se. No, I thought Janelle Monáe did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Certainly. I just think for whatever reason, because it was new and it was a little tighter, it was drawn to it a little bit more. But
his Edward Norton's character,
there was a stupidity
cringy.
too. Yeah,
there was, and the Mona Lisa bit was great.
Yeah.
Do you know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in every one of his movies? And also the dude that was sleeping on the couch, that was the roommate, is in every one of his movies.
Ooh, I'll have to.
They're very good friends.
Okay.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt may have not been seen. You may have missed him.
Okay.
He was the gong. So when everyone in 2, when the gong went off, it was him going gong.
Good to know. And I'm sure he got paid quite well for that.
I'm sure he did. Here, what's scale for being a gong for a day? Tropic Thunder. Yeah. See, this is what I mean by comedy, right?
Yes.
Like, because all the stops are pulled when you're doing stuff this absurd, right? Specifically, I'm just a dude dressed as a dude playing another dude.
Correct.
That's where I think I smile the most, right?
Yeah.
Like, Oceans are cool. They're breaking into shit. They're doing stuff.
Yeah.
But give me a comedy, like even Talladega Nights, I would kind of consider, right? Like, you might not have a big cast, but you've got definitely 4 to 5 people. Even Grandpa does his own lifting, on the dinner table. But I don't know. It was Tropic Thunder. Do you giggle every time you see it, or is it not?
I don't giggle every time I see it. I do agree that it should be on this list because the fact that they gave everyone time and space, they each are contributing to the narrative.
They each get their own little commercial in the beginning of the movie. Like, they really make sure they set it in. This is the story that everybody's going to tell you.
Yeah,
and it's not just Tuck. It's not.
Correct.
Fuck, I can watch Tom Cruise in that movie for days. 4 days. Yeah, that'll do. Galaxy Quest. Was this something of your childhood? This is a big movie for me. It's got Alan Rickman, Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver.
So for me, I would not put this on my list, only because if I stuck to my definition, they spend a lot of time on Tim Allen's character, and they spend a lot of time on Sigourney Weaver. The other ones are feeding into it. We're not getting more of their stories. So, yeah, you put these people on there, and you have
Gave them things to say,
but they're not individualized contributing to the narrative going forward. They're helping Tim Allen's narrative go forward.
And they also are like ripping on Star Trek a lot.
Yes.
Right. And not everybody in Star Trek ever got a lot. I mean, it was, I mean, Uhura was as important as Spock, and Spock was as important as Kirk and Bones and everybody. But yeah, they only pushed Kirk's agenda, which was to go where no man had gone before.
Correct.
As opposed to Spock's story, which you get more in the movies, though.
Correct.
You find out who he is as a person, which I liked from JJ. Yeah, I will agree with you now that you have exposed me to another aspect of how the ensemble tells the story, because it's all great and fun if, you know, they can all get on screen together, but if they can't do shit. Lord of the Rings. Do you think Lord of the Rings has a shot?
I think Lord of the Rings does. I'm a little surprised at how low down the list. I'm very curious to see what's
number 5, 4, 3, and
exactly.
So yeah.
I have one in my mind that I bet you is not going to be on this list, and I'm just holding it.
Okay.
I want to see if it's there, but I would say yes. So across the entire genre of the Lord of the Rings, all of it, you know, even to the point that in the book there were some secondary third characters that in the movie they made more prominent.
Yes.
Much to the Tolkien's
chagrin of
very much, you know, with their staffs in the streets crying. Looking at you, Liv Tyler. But to their credit, everyone's getting big screen time, more stories. You're not just there to walk on and hand a ring and then die.
Yeah, you do care. You do care about Legolas. You do care about Loki. You do care about Stryker as much as you care about the hobbits, right?
Correct.
Like, and when they divide,
correct.
Watching them go back and forth from both stories, you're like, I want more of this. I want more of that. No,
exactly.
Right. It's yeah. I mean, this shall pass.
Deuce it.
18, I don't know solo. Little Miss Sunshine, again with the dramedy, the dark comedy. This is so sweet.
It is a sweet movie, and this works very well. But once again, it's on that board. I think there's 6 main people, not 5 or 4. Okay, so it's
so Kinnear, Coletti, what's her face, the little girl,
the grandfather,
Abigail Breslin, Alan Arkin, Paul Dano, Steve Carell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 people.
Yeah,
I mean, Ocean's 11 is 5 more. So I mean,
correct.
like we're over the halfway point where we stop getting to primary actors and we get into ensemble.
Yes,
I love it because it's the one place. It's the car ride.
Correct.
Right. It's the family having to force to be the family situation.
Correct.
Like the bear.
Yes.
With the fishes episode and that stuff. Like you put them. You give me a one place setting.
Correct.
For a primary story. I love it.
Yeah, and this one, you know, if you compare this, say, to Home Alone. Right? 2 young actors.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
Home Alone is not an ensemble cast.
No.
It is literally 2 people.
Yeah.
You have 7,200 brothers and sisters. I don't understand the birth control in that house. But they're literally on a plane and gone, right? Whereas this, everyone's getting screen time on this. So
the screen time test is now the staple of the Real Debaters list. This is how you define an ensemble. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I mean, Alison Pill, yes. What's his George Michael?
Shea?
No.
Sear?
Michael
Cera.
Michael Cera. And the other guy who I have no idea who he is.
I would not say this is an ensemble cast.
This has cameos.
This is it. He's fighting her exes.
Yeah.
You actually have to have X's numbers to have it plural. So
7 evil X's to be exact.
It's literally him fighting each one of them.
And it's his story.
Yeah,
it's not the band's story.
Nope, it's not the girlfriend's story. She's literally just the motif to run it along.
Yeah.
Actually, I would argue one of the worst girlfriends on the planet, but that is just me. I'm putting that out there, listeners. But no, this should not be on the list. And if it is, it should not be this far down. Lord of the Rings, which actually everyone has more time and survive longer.
Yeah.
So no,
has 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like 78 hours of behind the scenes footage.
Yeah. No, this is somebody
still stands the test today for the best practical effects on screen.
Yeah. Although this still one of the best movies that did portray Canada/Toronto.
Oh, good Lord!
In a great way, because it was front and center.
Because we say it's not an ensemble movie does not mean either of us don't like it.
Correct.
Like, I saw this movie and I was like, you can make a movie like this?
I know.
Like Edgar Wright blew my mind where I was like, all these cute little things with coins and video game images
it was great.
And stuff. Like it was so much fun. Seven Evil X's is like that all of it was I was like, I can understand Scott.
Yeah. But no, not an ensemble cast.
No. Magnolia.
Yeah, we've talked. I do think Magnolia, it's got some great performances by a lot of people that are not...
It is ensemble by, what did you say, contrived, right?
Correct.
It is everybody doing a thing, and you do care. You care, and I love... That was also a movie that was like, oh, you can tell stories like this where you can intersect them at certain points and then carry forward in the storytelling.
Yeah.
And that, like, I mean, I have a thing for the Tom Cruise scene. I think, like, I mean, that's Tom Cruise
at best. I'm with you on that.
Right? Like, I mean, you can call that Scientology weird fuck all the names you want, but like,
but that man bun, put a lot of energy into his acting.
TJ Mackey.
No, it was great. I agree with you. It was one of his best.
That scene with him and his father, right?
Yeah.
I care just as much as Philip Seymour Hoffman as the healthcare worker, as I do about Julian Moore as the drug addict.
Correct.
A younger wife, as you do about John C. Reilly as the cop. Like, they all, and then you find out, if you haven't watched it, listener, it's all about frogs. All about frogs. Yeah, no, this is contrived ensemble. This isn't standard ensemble, not proper. The Outsiders, this ensemble. This is ensemble before they were all a big deal.
Correct.
Right? Like, but you do soda, dairy, Pony Boy. Like, you do get you care as much about Matt Dillon sacrificing everything, about Patrick Swayze being the dad. Even like Tom Cruise and Rob Lowe are barely in it, but they all. Maybe, I don't know. The more I talk about it, it's Ralph Macchio and Hutton. That's really what it. They all show up for about 20 minutes, do a fight, and then it's about the two of them. Yeah. The more I talk about this, the more I realize this is not an ensemble cast.
Yeah, like this is...
It'd be ensemble now if they did it.
Like, Stand By Me has 4 young men traveling across, finding a dead body. Is that ensemble? No. This is, 6 young men, but really...
You say ensemble now?
Ensemble. This is 6, so 2 more than Stand By Me, but really 2 main characters and 4 best friends.
Yeah, 4 guys in the background who all live in the same house while 2 guys go on the lam.
Correct.
And their story is about getting back to... Yeah, you're right. Not an ensemble, so shouldn't be on the list, correct. Tombstone. You a big fan of the Wyatt Earp movies? No.
My father loved...
Cowboy doesn't do it for you?
No, my father loved westerns. It was on our home every Sunday, and not one western was I ever really drawn to. I understand its genre and I appreciate it.
It lives for dads of a certain generation.
It does.
It's how men can cry of a certain generation. Like Shane can make men cry, but fuck, will they ever not cry in Titanic?
100%.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because it makes you cold. So Tombstone, okay, at least a western.
Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, and Michael Madsen, I think. And then there is some names in it. Like they're. I'm gonna bring this up just to see, because I've watched Wyatt Earp in this a lot. It was in my dad's collection of long lost VHS. But I think they all do a good job of telling your story.
Correct.
So Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Val Kilmer, and Kurt Russell. That's a big list. Powers Booth was a big actor at the time.
100%.
Bill Paxton, huge.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott, like Hollywood's Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell. I would say that it is. I would honestly say that it's more. I mean, it's more than Young Guns to me, because they're the Earp brothers.
Sure.
Right. Val Kilmer's the only one who's not Real Family and all of that. So, is Wyatt Earp better than that and less of an ensemble? Actually, there's less known people in it, and it's just a big 4-hour fucking epic. But this one cuts it down to just a shed over 2 hours. I would say yes. You don't have to agree with me.
I don't, and that's good. And I love that we don't.
Movies are very democratic.
Okay, so so they put the big chill in. Soup. Certainly, it's a
story
standard.
about a bunch of friends going away to the lake, right? Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was young.
Since one of their friend had died.
Yes. Yeah, they celebrate the
life of.
Yes. Okay.
And this was a definitive 80s movie that required a lot of individuals. So haven't seen it in years, but as I do recall, each one of them is given good screen time to tell their story.
Because they all tell what they remember of Kevin Costner's character.
Correct.
And aren't you then led to find out that he was dead the entire time? But in the movie, you don't think that, right? Yeah, I remember that pissing off a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
But I'm curious.
stuff's got to be on a list.
So, just for the listeners out there, so they put in the this one, and they put in the Outsiders. So I'm curious if this one movie that I'm really thinking
Is
of.
it a club at breakfast time?
It is.
See, pirate sees a pirate. All right. What's down on the list? Playing by heart. Playing by heart. Okay. I know this one. This is very, very Love Actually.
Yeah.
Have you seen? So you have seen. Okay.
Yeah.
Just for listener, Ryan Phillippe, Angelina Jolie, Gillian Anderson, Jon Stewart, Sean Connery, Gina Rowlands, may she rest in peace, Ellen Burstyn, Jay Moore, Dennis Quaid, Madeline Stowe, and Anthony Edwards. I would consider it is contrived.
Correct.
Because
correct. Like American Pie kind of genre-esque, right? Where you had large number of cast members to tell this story.
I don't remember anybody fucking a pie and Playing by Heart, though.
Very true. But you also remember the
Is it
one...
in the deleted scenes?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's in the overseas in Japan. But you remember there was one of those high school movies where they all graduate. It's got everybody in it. It's at the party and all that.
That's right. Well, it's got Channing Tatum's in it.
Yeah.
What's his face? The guy from not Orlando. Oscar Isaac is in it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's one of these
Chris Pratt's in it.
It's one of these movies where everyone comes in for a brief moment. You've got a ton of individuals, but do I think it's an ensemble in this? No, it's contrived.
It's contrived, and it's easy to do. Right?
Correct.
It's like if you're going to be ensemble, then equal story time around.
Correct.
As opposed to multiple stories. Like, 'cause
Correct.
that's the battle.
Correct.
Right? Is everybody doing something to tell one story instead of 14 stories telling one.
Correct.
ending. Yeah. No, I can get down with that. We're into the Big Lebowski.
Yes, it should be on the list.
Fuck it. If a Coen brother movie is never on a list, that's sacrilegious in and of itself, right? Because they've made so many genre-specific movies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, okay, does that mean, like, is No Country for Old Men one?
And there you go. Yeah.
Is, oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought here. Is Barton Fink one? Like, they've everybody does it. No, Where, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Correct.
Right? I mean, you got more cameos in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
With and one of them becomes a frog. So, I mean, you start to dwindle in numbers. But the Big Lebowski, I mean, yeah, they all are. I don't know about Steve Buscemi telling much of the story, though, right? Like, he's just there for comic fodder.
Yeah.
For bowling. It's the two of them pretty much looking for Tara Reid's character.
Yeah.
So I mean, Julianne Moore does her bit in it too. I mean, to go against this, I don't think it's a story being told by a bunch of people.
They're okay.
I think it's the dude's story
With a lot of people helping him
with
out.
a lot of people who interact with the dude along the way.
Okay.
And have funny interactions with the dude that are all about Coen Brothers moments. But I don't consider Julianne Moore giving me the story of trying to get the dude out of a shitty situation. And
No,
find this woman.
that's fair. That's very fair.
Great movie.
Yeah.
But
And once again, number 10 and Lord of the Rings is way below it. So
for all the tapping listener, I should move around the mic. The Godfather. You might get in trouble for not saying anything good about this. So
no, well, first of all, and I'm glad that you used Godfather 1.
yes,
Pinnacle. In a small way, I can see this being true. Yes, it's about the rise of these characters, and some people have more screen time than others. But the mafia in and of itself is not one person. The mafia in and of itself.
I mean, that wasn't the only mafia. I've always thought it was kind of small.
Don't tell. Funny enough,
La Cosatini.
Marlon Brando's character is not the focal point, right? Even though he has
he commands the fucking screen.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, Michael. Okay, so Al, Talia, Khan, Duvall, Brando. Who plays Sonny? Or not Sonny, Fredo. They did Dog Day Afternoon together. I just can never remember his name. He was also in Deer Hunter 2 with De Niro.
Yes. And then you also have, what's her name? The wife.
Oh, Diane Keaton.
Right? So, and each one is given, some considerable airtime to move the story from the book along.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's an adaptation from a book.
Correct.
Made by a first-time script writer.
Correct.
With a novelist who'd never written a script.
Correct.
So you have them staying very true to the source material.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody gets a lot of screen time, but Diane Keaton does show you how Michael becomes the dark, like what happens there between the two of them, and he breaks, and what only means a little bit to him is a life from a past that he'll never have back. But yeah, I think it's Michael's story. It's rise to power. I mean, it is Robert Duvall. I mean, Marlon's only in it for like half of the first, like a third of the first.
There
movie,
you go. Yep.
Right. And I mean, it's Michael's relationship with his sister. I mean, it's Michael's relationships with everybody.
Correct.
But I wouldn't consider it being told by everybody.
There you go.
Interesting. When you talk about it.
Yep.
And we might get shot for this.
We might.
Metaphorically speaking. Someone's going to make us sleep with the fishes. 888. Okay, here's where I was hoping we'd land.
There you go. Okay.
Not a Wes Craven. I was almost going to say Wes Craven.
Wes Anderson. I was hoping Wes Anderson was going to be on this list because truly, pure definition. Outside of my, I would say of Quentin Tarantino, he makes ensemble movies.
He calls everybody he knows.
Yes.
And says, I need you to do this really cheap.
Correct.
Because I have no money. This is art. But you will get to hang out with some of the coolest people. And those will probably form for, like, doing a Wes Anderson movie not only means you're going to be in a fun movie, but you're probably going to have friends for life because you all got to do this weird, zany thing.
Yeah.
Every one of them I consider, like, not ensembles, but I'd say the Grand Budapest that they've put on this list does well with everybody. Who you have on? You have Edward Norton. You have is it Ralph Fiennes or Ralph Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes. You have even the gentleman as the narrator. He's part of the whole story. I can never remember his name. F. Murray Abraham, Tilda Swinton, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman, Adrian Brody, Saoirse Ronan, Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, Jude Law, and Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
Their small roles still matter because he lets their star power shine. Agree? Disagree?
I do. Once again, I think this truly is, it's a large cast and everyone's getting a significant amount of time to move this story along as opposed to everyone supporting one person.
Yeah. You love a Community, don't you?
I do love a Community.
What is your favorite Wes Anderson movie?
I would go with the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Really?
Yeah. The Darlene Effect and
Not Darjeeling, no.
No. Sorry. No.
It's the Zissou for me.
The Zissou?
It's always the Zissou.
Oh,
who is this? What does he do? He's the Zissou. That was the first movie I watched by him.
I take it back. Best Wes Anderson movie, I'm going to say Isle of Dogs.
Really?
Really liked it.
You are like one of 4 people.
No, really liked that movie. And
did you like Fantastic Mr. Fox then as well?
Very much so. But
his stop motion is pretty on point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were fun. I wasn't like I wanted more of Darjeeling. I wanted more of the Tannenbaums. Like that's even some dumb shit in Bottle Rocket's still good enough for me. The one he made with. I don't know who that was, but maybe they're saying we should tie this up.
Okay.
8 is Grand Budapest Hotel. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
It should
all right, we're going in 7.
Burn After Reading. Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Frances McDormand, Tilda Swinton, John Malkovich, J.K. Simmons, and Richard Jenkins. They all. It is. I would. I mean, I'm being kind.
Yes,
I think because it's Frances McDormand.
Correct.
But also Brad Pitt's like. Yeah, no, they're all, even George Clooney, they all do get wrapped into the same story. They're all trajectorying at the same direction. Because you can't have this story without all of the absurdity that's going on in the background.
I'm a little surprised it's at 7, to be perfectly.
It should be higher or
I think it should be lower.
Okay.
Just because,
I agree with you. It's a little, the Magnificent 7.
Okay, because it's 7 people, so.
Well, it's Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, and Brad Dexter. Jaws is Rob Schneider, Dreyfuss, Shaw, and Hamilton. Like, what do you like? What you can't not call it that. I mean, have you seen it?
I have seen it. Okay, then the Hateful Eight should be on this.
Yes, it's
because
true.
they all convene in one room
for a very
long time, and you have to have all their stories told.
Yes, you do.
So okay, but
I agree that Hateful Eight should be on more here than this. I've seen the remake and I've seen Seven Samurai.
Yes.
I haven't seen the Magnificent Seven, but I know the story, right?
Yeah.
So if what I know about both of those is true, I mean, yeah, everybody's involved, but not every samurai had major screen time, even in 3 hours.
Correct.
So yeah, I'd give the Hateful Eight way more credit. Maybe who knows if it's going to be down. Silverado again. A couple westerns are really getting some love here.
Yeah.
This I never saw Silverado, but it's got Linda Hunt, Kevin Kline, Kevin Costner, Danny Glover, Scott Glenn, Jeff Goldblum, Brian Dennehy, John Cleese, Rosanna Arquette, Richard Jenkins, and Jeff Fahey. Have you seen this?
To be honest, this is not a film I've seen, so I can't speak to it in any capacity.
Yeah, I remember it coming out. I remember it being a thing. Dogma, yes, please. Yes, I have to.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's a road trip, right? Yeah. It's a fun road trip with a group of friends questioning life, the universe, and everything in it. Every Kevin Smith movie is a ensemble.
Yeah.
Because the story is about nothing. The story is about a bunch of people all experiencing things.
Yeah.
And coming to some sort of, I guess, cathartic conclusion in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody comes out in the end. There's not one person who gets forgotten along the way.
Yeah.
Is that your...
I agree with you.
Yeah?
Yep.
Did you come up with Kevin Smith like I came up with Kevin Smith? Are you part of his...
I did. Coming up, yeah. Oh, I'm 90s child.
Okay.
The Deer Hunter.
So we'll find out who I was talking about. I think it's John Cazale.
Okay.
He was Sonny or Fredo.
Yep.
They all. Have you seen it?
A long time ago.
So you remember they all go to war.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
They do get separated and find each other again.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm a little surprised it's at number 3.
So am I. There's so many things that you could put on here.
Correct.
That aren't on here. It's got a big cast. It's a great movie.
Sure.
But I mean, it's Oscar-winning gold. But I'm not.
But I'm also thinking, we had the Towering Inferno.
Yeah.
Large cast, right? Many who died. But do we call that one of the great ensemble casts because they're coming in for different moments?
Or like the Death on the Nile Agatha Christie stuff, right? Like that's more ensemble to me because everybody in the Murder on the Orient Express
exactly
all has a piece to do with the murder.
Correct.
So
that's why I'm a little surprised that an Agatha Christie kind of esque, which is contributing it, and the Murder on the Orient Express, whatever version of it is, they all have a moment where their character has to be investigated and talked to and all of that.
And without that, we don't know why every one of them was involved with the death.
Correct. And so it's not just about solving it. We have each character's involvement. So I'm surprised that the Deer Hunter is the one that they've selected from that repertoire.
That's just being trashy. Mystery Men. Okay. I mean, I said earlier that comedy is usually for me where this shines the most. But number 2 is ill-placed. Like, how old are you, person that made this list?
Correct.
Because I feel that you were like, well, I need to show that I have some maturity with my film repertoire, but at the same time, I'm all about dick and fart jokes.
Yeah.
Because this is literally a guy who farts, I believe. Like, his superpower is farting.
I would not have had this on the list at any point.
It's a movie 43.
Yeah.
Everybody shows up. I'll give it ensemble, but I think this is 23 on a list.
Sure.
Maybe not even.
And now the number 1.
Drum roll, please. Mars Attacks. This person is 27. They have just seen these movies for the first time.
Yeah.
They are super happy that they're now exposed to them. Mars Attacks. Really?
For me, that is... Yes.
This was the best movies in history. That was the title of this list.
Correct. Of ensemble cast. And Mars, you have a lot of big names. I'll give you this. And they're given some time. I guess they're contributing to the story of Earth being taken over by aliens.
Sure.
But if we're talking about everyone contributing, everyone's giving chemistry, everyone's contributing to a great movie. That's why I was saying before, where's the Breakfast Club?
Right?
Each one of those
Where's Pretty in
Pink, right?
Right. Where's anything John Hughes, really?
Or we said it ourselves.
Except for Home Alone.
We're looking at any number from Wes Anderson, more than just one, or from Quentin Tarantino.
Where's Pulp Fiction?
Correct.
Where's Django Unchained?
And I would say the one I was holding back, which I'm a little
What was your
Toy Story?
Yeah.
Multiple characters. Yes, they're
multiple animation.
Right? Yes, they're drawn. We get this.
Toy Story.
They're all there, but each character in Toy Story is given enough time, backstory, contribute. I mean, one of the great scenes is the toys joining hands.
Remember, I haven't seen it. I know. Kills everybody.
Does. But, that is some great ensemble, and it's hard to do it when you're drawing the emotion into this.
Sorry, Ensemble.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
you're totally right. They've completely alienated an entire genre that depends on known voices.
Correct.
And when you get a big fun like Trolls,
yes,
or Inside Out, or any of these that like require goofy, well-known voice actors,
correct,
or just actors in general whose voices are well known. That's 6 to 8 people sometimes, right?
Now, I'm also saying, like I said, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not on there.
This list. Even Star Trek movies.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Like
correct.
Old Kirk, right? Star Trek 1 through 6, or the new stuff, like
correct.
They didn't do it in the television show because they knew they had all the time in the world to be like, all right, next week we'll do an episode with you. Next week we'll do an episode. They didn't really put them all together because someone had to always be on the fucking ship.
Yeah.
But you did, you learned more about Uhura this time around as Saldana.
Correct.
You learned more about Kirk's backstory, right? And then all of them together,
correct.
They're very much focused on where we go, when we go, many as a story.
Yes.
So but TV show is Kirk and Spock, Kirk and someone else, Kirk and a green alien.
And another great movie which you should have been on the list is August Osage.
Yeah, August Osage County?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a large cast. Each has given their own time to tell this family's horrendous
The Family
story.
Stone, how about?
Correct. You're looking at, and like I said, this of course is coming from a male perspective. There are a lot of female-driven movies that have multiple characters, like like I said before.
Oceans wasn't on this list too.
None of the Oceans were on there. Yeah.
What do you?
Even Ocean's 9. You want to more
8.
Ocean's 8. Yes. Yeah. More compact, right?
Yeah. Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect is really about the two main girls, and the other ones are supporting it. In my opinion,
I'll retract that. Sin City.
Correct. Excellent.
Adaptation. I don't consider that. No. Little Women.
Yes, exactly. So, and particularly the most modern version of Little Women, where we're getting each one of their stories. Yes, it's coming predominantly from one character's memories, but each one of her sisters is given their own time.
Rat Race.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
How this person doesn't know what movies make a person feel. They're just like, I'm going to make a list that gets me attention.
And you're all going to scream this out. Clue.
Oh, good Lord. Right?
Clue is one of those great goofball, and the goofballs comedies really play into that kind of ensemble because it needs to have all of this
goofball sex comedy.
No. Wah, wah, wah. And not looking at that Porky's kind of thing. But yeah, Clue, a great, each cast member really working together and physically running together.
Yeah, no, they'll have to be together because if one's not in the room, then
you're the murderer.
Something's awry. No, I think this is somebody's misidentified version of Ensemble.
Yeah,
I don't think they're getting what really, and I mean I think they just picked movies that have lots of characters,
correct,
do lots of things, but again, we've kind of gotten in the weeds with it.
Yes,
where why certain ones pop, why certain ones don't, what makes them pop, why are they why they have that certain je ne sais quoi. What is like one of your favorites?
Ensembles?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back to you. Yeah, if I came from the 80s as a kid, you're looking at that Breakfast Club that coming of age, and almost
they all interact with each other.
Yeah, that's also St. Elmo's Fire kind of that coming of age. You're moving into the 90s. Yeah, it's.
See, I'm like Can't Hardly Wait. Right
there, it is.
10 Things I Hate About You. Right,
exactly.
Like those teenage dating story movies of the late 90s, early
Correct.
2000s. Those are the ones that I first came up on because I was like, yeah, I was a fat kid, so I'm like, yeah, character, right?
Exactly.
And you just get absorbed into it. Heath Ledger singing, You're Just Too Good to Be True will forever reign in cinema as one of the sweetest songs ever. I like your newfound way of looking at it. It's new for me, so yeah, I'll definitely pass that along to everybody else and be like, yeah, bitches, it's not necessarily Ensemble. They're together, but go ask Tony. Listener, if you think we've missed one, if we definitely know this list missed one, write in, voice in, the dialogue box, the place where you can leave your rant, your voicemail. The link is in the show notes. Just hit it. You've got up to 3 minutes. Leave your screen name, whatever your screen name is. We don't need to know who you are as a person. We'll just mention whatever you want to be known. And we do have a comment from an online. We did. Last weekend, we did the Wicked-inspired debate. We recasted Wizard of Oz for today.
Okay.
And we came up with Steven Spielberg as a director.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan would produce. This artist named Disaster P, who did the It Follows soundtrack, would do like a symphony version.
Okay.
Olivia Rodrigo's Dorothy.
Okay.
Jason Mewes was Scarecrow.
Okay.
We had a combination of Ben Affleck, Ewan McGregor, and Hugh Jackman. They'd play Tin Man because the mask will be on, so you wouldn't know.
Okay.
Lady Gaga was Wicked Witch of the East. Glinda was Rosario Dawson.
Interesting.
And Lion was... Go to our Instagram. You'll see who Lion was. I can't remember off the top of my head. But somebody did write in, and I've got it here, and they thought this would be a great Tin Man. I can't not mention this because it's a pretty good combination, and he's in town filming. That's why.
Okay.
So her idea, this is Piccolo Takes All. I can totally see Hugh Jackman. She agrees with us. I think that was my pick. But hear me out. Bob Odenkirk is the Tin Man. See the hated milk machine from Mr. Show combined with James McGill in a classic silver suit from Better Call Saul.
Okay.
And I'm like, yes, I can definitely see that. So, Bob, if they ever do come past you and say, hey, listen, we heard about this random pitch idea on this stupid podcast from Winnipeg. Say yes to being the Tin Man. Someone out there. Piccolo Takes All believes you could do it. You could have one of those right on the show, listeners, the point I'm trying to make here. So if you're so inclined to put a rant out there or a hot take or something, the dialogue box is the place to do it. Again, see it in the show notes. Hope to see you at Trivia. Thank you for listening to another episode. Buy those trivia tickets. They're in the show notes. Everything's in the show notes. I'm going to shut the fuck up. Tony, I've been a contrived ensemble.
Had a wonderful night. Thank you so much for this.
Say bye, Tony.
Bye.
Watch the movies, everybody.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
If you have any problems, dial information. Thank you for calling.